You know, there's a moment in every slot session that we almost never ever talk about. It's this quiet, unnoticed little window of time that, believe it or not, is probably the most critical part of your entire experience. It literally sets the stage for everything that comes after, and today we're going to break down exactly why.
It all comes down to these first 3 minutes. That's it. This is the time before the adrenaline really starts pumping, before you get into that deep flow state, and way before the big emotions like excitement or frustration really take over. This is where the whole session is shaped.
So, the big question is, what is actually happening inside your brain during this really brief, often overlooked moment? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden mechanics at play right when you hit that first spin.
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we have to look at that very first spin. The second you open a game, your brain is pretty much a blank slate. It's fresh, it's neutral. You could say your internal risk meter is perfectly balanced. But that all changes with that first button press, which acts like a thermostat for your mind. You can think of this first spin as the warm-up spin. And it's not just about winning or losing money. It's a full-on sensory check. Your brain is scanning the environment, asking, do these sounds feel good? Are the animations exciting? Is this game fun? Or does it feel dangerous? And those signals, they go straight to your nervous system.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. Look how powerfully one tiny event can send you down two completely different roads. An early micro win, I'm talking even just 40 cents. Your brain sees that as momentum. Boom. Dopamine and hope start to rise. But an early loss, that flips a switch. The brain goes right into recovery mode, creating this subtle urge to just turn things around. That tiny little shift can change your decisions for the rest of the night.
And of course, this initial reaction is absolutely not an accident. It's by design. Game designers know this psychology inside and out. Their main goal in the first 3 minutes isn't to make you profitable, it's to get you engaged. They want to lock you into the game's rhythm. So how do they do it? They use something called fast feedback loops. It's this rapid-fire sequence of little events. Small wins, quick losses, those moments where you almost get the bonus. It's all of these things packed into the first couple of minutes, and they're all designed to dial in your emotional temperature and get that rhythm going.
And this quote just nails it, right? When a player says something like this, they're not really talking about luck. What they're actually describing is the feeling of that rhythm, the one that was set up in those first few moments. The game successfully told them how they should feel about it. But there's something even deeper going on here, something on a neurological level. During these opening minutes, a full-on handover of control is happening inside your brain. You can basically think of it as a battle for the driver's seat. On one side, you've got your prefrontal cortex. That's the logical, rational part of your brain, the CEO in charge of control and smart decisions. And on the other side, you've got the dopamine system, which is all about emotion, reward, and that feeling of excitement. This timeline really shows you how that handover happens. At the very start, second zero, your logic is in complete control. But as the game's rhythm starts to sink in, maybe a minute and a half later, that logic starts to fade into the background. By the 3-minute mark, the flow state kicks in. Now, dopamine and emotion are calling the shots, and time itself can start to get a little blurry.
So here's the most important point of all of this. While these first 3 minutes are a time when you're being psychologically influenced, they are also, without a doubt, your greatest window of opportunity. This is your moment of maximum control.
Just think about it for a second. Your clearest, most rational decisions happen right at the very beginning. This is before the adrenaline arrives, before that sense of hope gets you carried away, before any frustration starts to creep in, and before that music starts to hypnotize your thoughts. Your awareness is at its absolute peak.
So how do you actually use this window to your advantage? Well, the strategy is powerful, but it's also incredibly simple. Use those first couple of minutes to consciously test the game. Really feel out its rhythm, its energy, its vibe. And if something just doesn't feel right, if the energy is off or you're not vibing with the rhythm, that is the single best moment to just walk away. Which really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When you think about it, the choice often comes down to this. One good, clear-headed decision made in those first 3 minutes, or one long, frustrating night of chasing a feeling you can't even explain. The power of that initial choice, well, it's everything.